And there we go. And we have a Magus and a Marl start for our characters. So a lot of magic, Marl being incredibly slow and weak early on, but Magus would be able to carry the load for a little while.
Yeah, and Magus was our starter in the last run as well, and we saw Choco go straight to Cathedral in the last race because Magus can one-shot Naga. Whereas Moon went and did some item shopping. We'll see if that changes this go-around.
Yeah, we'll probably see Moon Blizzard taking his normal route where he likes to go and check the desert early for some chests, go and hunt for some speed tabs and magic tabs, go shopping. But if we see Chocosura just heading straight towards Cathedral, we might be seeing some divergence just right off the gate. And there's Moon heading straight into desert, like I thought.
Yeah, Choco is making that pit stop at the Xenon Bridge to trigger the text box required for the quest to run. And running straight to Cathedral.
He's going right in.
So the advantage of going to the desert and doing a couple of fights outside of the Cathedral is that, in theory, your Cathedral could be faster if Marl learns Ice 2. The problem with it being Marl, she only has one tech that will really speed things up, so you have a 1 in 8 shot of getting something good.
This desert has not been kind in items. The Terra Arm is great if you can find Robo or Frog. Yeah, we see a Frog weapon and 2 Robo weapons, but unfortunately neither of them are in the party. So not much use there.
Yeah,
so some of the items that we see that Moon is probably going to be looking for right now. He's going to be buying some ethers, mid tonics, shelters, revives, and heals.
Yeah,
with me, I just go straight to 99 ethers, but not everyone likes to do that.
Taco of the 99 ethers has all the ethers. By rationing your ethers, you actually leave yourself with enough money to check Snail Shop and buy an item, if it's any good.
I like the 99 ethers, so I don't have to make any more purchases of them for the rest of the game.
I did not see... Marl should have learned a tech. And, Robo is dropping down from the ceiling, which means Moon's desert play all of a sudden looks a lot better.
That Terra Arm is going to make mincemeat of Yakra. Did I just see him buy a Dream Gun? He did. He bought a Dream Gun on accident. That is gonna hurt. Because you have a very limited amount of money to spend, and spending 5,000 or whatever it was on a weapon you can't even use.
Oh, poor Moon. And then he sold it back for half.
Megaton Arm.
Wait, he sold the Terra Arm?
That's an interesting play.
He's going to be kicking himself when he gets Robo. It looks like Moonstone was in the Snail Stop, so won't be going back there for a while.
Yeah, that makes a good point. Is Terra Arm in the scale or the shop for sellable items? Because there are some weapons that are not sellable.
I don't know, maybe it just didn't show up in the inventory list because it wasn't sellable, not because he sold it.
I guess we'll find out soon enough. And let's see what the carpenter's wife is hiding for us. Instead of bringing us tools, she's going to be bringing out...
Jerky!
Jerky. Delicious jerky. He will be able to trade that in for a very powerful item. So we'll see if maybe we'll be looking at a rainbow within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, and having Marl...
that would be useful.
Yeah, but having Marl in your party does open up the possibilities for items that are usable out of the jerky check, because Prism Dress and there's a couple of other female-only items that can drop there. I don't think there's a weapon for Marl, though. Maybe Valkyrie's in the list.
We'll see. I would never hope for a Valkyrie because you're not going to be doing too many basic attacks with Marl.
No. Choco making mincemeat of the cathedral again as he picks up a few items. Saw a Frenzy Band drop. Getting a Frenzy Band early is kind of nice. Throw that on Magus instead of his amulet, and every time Magus gets smacked in the head, he turns around and cuts him down to size.
Alright, and we're seeing Moon finishing up the shop fight. Gives about 5 levels to each character, and your first tech tomorrow, which was Cure. So not going to be much use from her for the first 15 minutes of the race.
Her next
She
tech
does
is
have
Haste.
Haste as her tech, so Haste is a big tech to get early. So we'll see if Moon's gonna be doing some catch up here. He's turning in the jerky, so we can start guessing what we're getting. I always hope for a rainbow, whether it's Chrono in the seed or not. It always feels good to get a rainbow.
I always want it to be Wonder Shot.
Wonder Shot's always fun. I go out of my way to use basic attacks with Luca whenever I get a Wonder Shot.
And
what
it's
do we get?
a Prism
Prism
Dress.
That is an amazing armor item to get in the first 6 minutes.
Well, Marl is not changing her armor for the rest of the game. Unless you get...
I don't imagine that Moon's going to be kicking Marl out of the party. He's a big fan.
because she's going to get haste, and she's got a Prism Dress. Marl's probably around for the long haul.
Ooh, when you see on Choco's stream that Uzi Punch is coming up, so we're seeing arguably Robo's strongest tech coming in early. And with the early weapons we saw in the desert, we are going to be seeing some good stuff from Robo.
Now, the downside, of course, is that he's done all this work. The first Naga fight is not going to be any faster than it would have been. But, although Marl may actually be able to one-shot... never mind, she got slowed. Being slowed actually reduces your damage. And if she hadn't been slowed, she would have one-shot a Naga, which could have made the fight slightly faster.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to be switching aggro, and Magus is going to take down 3 while Marl takes down her 1. So he's taking 75% of the load.
Magus doing all the work, and yet everyone calls him evil.
He's misunderstood.
All he wants is his sister. Alright, and Choco, as Moon enters the cathedral, Choco is preparing to fight Yakura and exit the cathedral.
And I'm wondering if we're going to see maybe an early desert play here, too, with picking up Robo. Moon or Choco might just be heading straight down there because Robo is required to clear the desert. Sometimes I get the gut feeling inside that if I get Robo early, desert's a place to go.
Yeah, and I just realized with Marl and Robo, you've got both of your characters who are required to unlock checks. You could skip Cathedral completely. So maybe Moon comes in, picks up a couple items, and just pieces out.
Yeah, the only risk to that would be if Frog is going to be required, but then you might not want him until later, which you could make mincemeat of this entire cathedral. So this could be a time where Moon just gets his bromide because you get 3 free tabs, and then you leave.
And that would cut the apparent time gap between them very quickly.
Yeah. Desert, as Cecil is saying, Desert would be difficult with these levels. However, if we do have an early Uzi Punch and Haste. If we can get an early Ice spell, I think it could be possible.
And you've got the option of going up Denadoro Mountain, which with Robo and Magus you could survive fairly easily. And maybe Magus learns a magic tech and is able to...
Looks like Moon is completing it.
Do Hecarim early. but Marl with no magic, Robo with no magic might make Hecarim kind of difficult.
Yeah, Magus doesn't get any techs for a while still. It takes a while. It takes a long time for him to get his first technique. So I'm thinking that Hecarim is out of play for a little while. I would fully expect that we've already seen Chokosura start the Zen and Bridge sequence. He made a quick pit stop in just to talk to the Knight Captain. I'm sure that he is going to be going and doing a quick save in case he wants to save Scum and leave out of there. Unless it's an item that he is very interested in having, and then we'll see him complete Zen and Bridge. We could also see our first character swap if the character Choco is going to unlock right now he thinks is better than any one of these three.
All right, having Ayla. Could see Ayla swapped out for Robo, possibly. Since
it could be out for Marl as well, because this party would not require magic to learn. They would be able to have all their techniques unlocked without having to make any extra stops.
She has Charm and Tailspin, which helps put Hecarim kind of back on the table.
Yeah. Tailspin is a good magic technique for Ayla.
I would think that if you were going to go do Zen and Bridge, if you haven't found a weapon for Marl, that maybe you swap Ayla in, even if only for that one fight, just because Ayla will actually do damage and Marl won't.
Through a Robin bow on
Marl that's not so bad then.
There's the save, and we'll see if he's gonna like the key item he gets from our good friend the chef.
Yeah, and we saw that Moon checked his text, realized he's one fight away from having Uzi Punch. So he's taking an extra fight to have Uzi Punch available for Yakra.
I believe that Choco made the exact same play where he took this fight, which is normally you just run right past them. So these guys are very carefully paying attention to their tech points.
Well, Choco will not be resetting. That is a gate key. That's magic access. That's access to prehistory. Access to one of the best grinding spots in the early game. Access to another character.
Yeah. If there's any one key item you're looking for early, I would say that gate key is on the top of my list. It's gate key number 1 I want early, pendant I want second.
Yeah. Gate key, pendant, jerky, in that order.
Ooh, I don't know about jerky. Jerky is nice, but I don't hope for it right away. I suppose if you're gonna get it, you want it at the beginning instead of the end of while you're searching, though.
Exactly. if I'm gonna get stuck with jerky, I want it first thing.
Cthulhu, just being the kind of person he is looking for tools, jerky, and Thomas Pop. He does not want to progress through seeds. He wants to play the game vanilla. He just wants to shuffle
700 damage by Robo. So he must still have that Terra arm.
I did not see what the drops over on from Ozzy were. And that Ozzy is kind of notorious for dropping some good items on the bridge, which is another reason that sometimes if you get a key item that's kind of meh, it's still worth to do it just because you might get something like gold earrings or some other thing. I've gotten Wonder Shot by finishing off Zen and Bridge.
Ayla charmed Ozzy for a wall ring.
That sells.
Yeah.
If anything else, you get money for it.
I wonder if Charm still counts as one of the 3 attacks on Ozzy. It does.
It looked like that. Okay.
That's impressive. I never would have thought of that. It drops Mega Elixirs.
Mega Elixir. That's what I'm talking about with these drops. Zen and Bridge is notorious for these crazy good drops on him, and his Mega Elixirs, it does not get much better than that.
That means he has 2 of them.
We'll see if Moon Blizzard's going to make the same play and swap out Ayla for Marl. Just move that Prism Dress over. He's opting for the same party for now.
And Choco taking time to charm again. A lot of times, I think charm's just not worth it because it's such a crapshoot on what item you're going to get. That's an attack. That's 200 damage you don't do.
I think with Uzi Punch, you're not losing that much time by doing the checks, and you could get big things like a red vest, which will make it very easy to go through Son of Sun as soon as they unlock Future.
That's true.
So when you have early techs like Uzi Punch, where she's not going to be contributing that much, I can see it being a smart play. It can absolutely fail though, and you can get absolutely nothing, and it does slightly slow down your run.
Caesar pointing out the problem with Uzi Punch, you can only have one. MP is decidedly an issue for Robo.
Yep, that is the gatekeeping. If you're on the random text, if you end up with a flare or a dark matter or a triple kick or Uzi Punch.
But if you are partaking of the 99 ether strategy, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Do we have audio coming?
Oh, I hit the wrong mute button. I was swapping audio over to Choco and muted myself instead.
Ah, that would explain it. Yep. Sometimes it is MP intensive, and you see people that are kind of get wary about that. They see that 20 MP cost, and they want to stop, but it decreases the amount of turns you take each fight. So I say go for it. All right, now we see Choco doing some of his shopping. Only buying 30 ethers, a pathetic amount. It's about 60 off from the correct amount.
No, I am still a fan of, I do 30 to 40 ethers. It is slightly dependent on what my techs are going to be. If I knew that my first tech is one of the ultimate techs, I will buy extra ethers because I know I'm just going to be spamming it the rest of the game.
I will always spam techs. I find I don't use basic attacks past 20 minutes of the game. Everything is techs for me. So I'm usually running out of those ethers by the end of the seed.
Yeah, but I mean, the way the seed sets up, or the runs and the dungeons typically set up, if you have shelters, you don't have to use ethers.
Yeah, that is also because I don't spend. For those who aren't sure, don't know, in the randomizer there are item price changes from the vanilla version. Ethers have dropped in price, so they are 80 per purchase, and shelters have gone up significantly in price, and I think they were about 120 gold in the vanilla version, and they are all the way up to 1,200 per shelter. So you are only, for 5,000 gold, you are only getting 4 shelters, and that is very difficult to go through if you want quick heals.
Very true.
Revives are another one that have been jacked up in price, that they are 1,000 gold a piece to revive to 50 HP. And so if you are running late game, there might be seeds where you are completely out of revives because you couldn't afford more and you didn't make an extra stop for them.
Thankfully, heals are still only 10 gold, but notoriously, I have had several seeds where you have 0 heals in any shop. And so you get to, like, Lavos at the end of the game, casting Obstacle, and you have no way to remove status effects.
That's right. Having no status effect heals at the end does make it more difficult. And yes, if you need 50 revives to survive through the randomizer, you might be having a real problem with your seed.
What do you mean you glitched it so that every enemy has Ayla Bronze Fist and is doing 9,999 damage crits?
So we see Choco is now going to be heading to the future, or the past. He's going to 65 million BC with the gate key. And I expect him, well, if he's sticking with this party, we might not see him jump to end of time. Okay, he is going to go and unlock magic for Marl, currently the only character that he has that requires magic unlock. So we might be seeing a party swap again. Core, who do you think he's going to drop?
If I was running this team, I would drop Robo, take Marl.
So he's just unlocking. Maybe this is signaling that he's going to be going to Dactyl Nest to search for another character. Maybe he's hoping for Luca to be up there. Choco has told me his favorite party is Ayla, Marl, and Luca. He loves the girl power.
I mean, so does Moon. Everyone seems to like the all-girl team.
That is my favorite party. The
girls
are the best.
I think it's the better team. I am slightly partial to the OG trio. I like having Chrono, Marl, Luca if I get a good weapon for Chrono.
Chat, tell us what your favorite party is. Vanilla or randomizer? Who is the #1 team you're hoping for?
Rocky is lying to us.
Rocky's going for frogs. Maybe someday we can have all characters.
No, that's one of the 13 endings. Everyone's a frog.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't played this 30-year-old game, Frog, Ayla, Luca.
That is a really great team for super early go modes because you can have Frog with AoE heals on your relatively weak team.
Yeah, Frog, Ayla, Luca does cover all your bases and is relatively safe with Frog having the AoE heal that's very powerful, much stronger than Robo's AoE heal.
Yeah,
and we do see that Choco is doing the Dactyl Nest check, so I'm thinking he's looking for that Luca.
And it's interesting that the character you pick up on Dactyl Nest starts at level 19 as a minimum. So if you get here early, you actually get like a character who's 10 levels higher than everyone else.
I did not realize they were ever that high when you get there. See, can he get these skips? Ooh, not quite. I think that
was too far. Oh, but he backs it up there and he goes.
He took the pixel step back and got the first skip. The skips that we're watching Chokosura do right now are pixel perfect. He's got to be on the exact right pixel to walk up and slide on over to the steps without triggering a fight.
Like he did right there, because that's the second one.
Was too far over in that one.
But you can still run away from the fight.
Moon is making the exact same play. Outside of their opening strategies, they have been mirroring each other, so Choco looks like he's just slightly ahead. And we see a frog boy here. Not exactly what they're looking for, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Frog is not going anywhere near the team.
Yes, Praki is pointing out that skip is difficult because when you're taking that step, no matter, even if you feel you're consistently doing the same tap, it could be 1 pixel, it could be 2 pixels. So you really have to be paying attention to your character's movement and change.
Yeah, that's why you see both Moon and Choco did pause buffers, because it will, if you get the 2 pixel step, it will stop it at 1 pixel.
There it is. Moon's able to get the first one using pause buffering. Silver Stud is a great find to have early, especially when you've got things like Uzi Punch that are going to be taken up. And right as I'm saying it, he throws that Silver Stud right onto Robo to lessen the cost of that Uzi Punch. It's both.
Yeah, and Choco has gone to the end of time, is teaching magic to both Marl and Frog. An interesting point is that if you have not learned 3 techs on someone who has to unlock magic, and you then unlock magic, you automatically learn the first 3 techs. So if you find something like Gate Key at the Carpenter, so it's like literally the first item you get in the game, and you go unlock magic, you get 3 techs.
And we'll see if those are big. I did notice that Frog was level 16 on Moon, so I think 19 was a little bit high. But he is several levels above everybody else.
Now there was a mirror in my way.
And first thing Moon does when he gets back is he goes straight for Denadoro Mountains. He's got high hopes. He's got a strong belief for that place. Let's see if Choco's going to start making the same play.
Is Choco keeping Frog in the party?
Well, he booted out Robo and Magus for Marl and Frog. He likes the heals.
I mean, technically everyone in this team has a heal. I didn't see what Frog's techs were. Maybe he has water too or something. So it unlocked the ability to do Hecarim more easily.
Moon changing his mind about something. He's just clearing out the way, and he is heading elsewhere. He's heading towards the end of time. Is he gonna add the Frog to his team? And
now,
unlock magic for him right now.
Now Magus and Robo are back in the party.
These guys are unpredictable.
Of
course, stop trying to figure them out. You can't do it.
Yeah, I was like, I've got no idea what he's doing. I mean,
they're gonna change party members again before the boss.
I will say, I am a big fan of taking Magus through Hecarim's Cave, though, because if you time the techs right, you can get 5 techs deep into Magus's tree because of the tech doubling bug that's carried over from vanilla.
I don't like to think of them as bugs, more as features.
Fair.
The tech doubling feature, if you're good enough to use it.
Right.
I am not good enough to use it because I don't ever think about it that much.
I used not to until I did a seed where I started with Magus and like his first tech was Fire 2, which then unlocked Dark Matter, which then unlocked Magic Wall, which then unlocked, I think, Ice 2, and I had to go do Desert. I was like, oh, there's every tech that I could possibly need off of Magus in 3 minutes. I'm happy.
See, you're paying attention to it, you can make the good play. Choco looks like he's taken a bunch of these fights to get some extra tech points. And now that magic is unlocked, now we see Moon heading straight back for Denadoro.
Interesting to see him come in, leave to unlock magic, and then go back.
Just doesn't want to waste the tech points he can gain.
I guess typically you can get enough tech points later in the game, particularly for Marl, who has to get the least number of tech points of the entire party of any of the characters. So, bit of a shame to go unlock it for her.
Yeah, especially when you're not going to be seeing that many encounters on here this entire time, because you're going to notice that Moon's going to be skipping just about every single fight on here. He might not actually take another fight until he gets to Masamune, which should only be dropping like 40 tech points tops. So took a bit of time there, when maybe that could have been routed in a little bit differently.
I mean, it's still something you have to go do, so all you've really lost is the amount of time it took to run off the map and then run onto the map. But yeah, Moon skipping all the chests, all the fights, all the tabs. He'll probably suffer the.
He's not going to say the mountains are nice.
No, even if it is the life.
Moon. I think that's right up there with petting the cat. You got to know that mountains are nice, and this is the life.
Yes, you have to pet the validation cat. That's very important.
Yeah. The only thing that doesn't matter is saving Fritz. You don't need to do that.
All right, we have a White Rock.
Resetting the Angry Bird, and so there's that skip. Yeah, he did not take any more encounters that entire time.
And Choco is making his way through Hecarim's cave, and we'll be starting that boss fight soon. So we're going to have dueling bosses.
Do we know what crime Fritz committed?
In canon, no.
I don't know. I'm under the impression that he's guilty until proven innocent.
Oh no, I've always wondered, is Fritz secretly somehow behind the events in Chrono Cross? Or that lead up to Chrono Cross?
A little suspicious.
It's all because he's angry about what happened.
Procky knows, but he can't say. Something seems a little suspicious that Procky might have been involved in those crimes too. Then, and we got two dual boss fights going on. We're going to see Hecarim while we have Masamune going on. Hecarim should be a really quick fight. He's got 2,000 HP, and so we'll see about 4 or 5 attacks before he's going to be completely finished off with Dark Bomb. Masa and Mune, I think, has about 3,500 or 4,000, somewhere in that range. But you can use Uzi Punch on him, so it should be about just as fast.
Yeah, unfortunately for Choco, Robo is effectively useless in the fight except as the Ether Tosser. And Marl may not be much better.
He's just throwing haste on him and nobody else. We just want to give him as many turns as possible.
Now throw the tonics, throw the ethers, as Moon gets Marl hit with a tornado attack, which would have killed her if she didn't have that prism dress.
Wow, Cthulhu telling us that in the vanilla version that he was just allegedly just grouped in with them, kind of like maybe he's the... Is he the Dragonborn? That sounds a lot like the beginning of Skyrim. Just got grouped in with a bunch of other people and they going to execute you without a trial.
Got caught trying to cross the border.
Looks like that Choco is just waiting for Hecarim to finish his counterattack mode. That's ending, so he can go, so he's not countered with some water too. But he gets to finish anyway. He could have finished it off. And the Wolf Lobe Sword glitch and text glitch, we don't actually know what that item is. And Masa and Mune are finished at the same exact time.
2 bosses enter,
We'll see 2
no
key
bosses
items
leave.
basically at the same time here. Yeah, the Wolf Lobe Sword is possibly the strongest sword in the game.
We just don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
A
Chrono Trigger. And what are we getting from Denadoro?
Hero
The
Medal.
Hero Medal. A short fetch, which will also give us information about who is inside of Frog's Burrow.
Alright, Choco's about to go get his prism dress.
And I'm sure that is going to be immediately equipped.
Yeah.
What are you betting on?
Who's going to be...
Who are you betting is going to be inside the... hidden behind the burrow? Is it going to be Luca or is it Chrono?
I'm going to say it's Chrono.
I'll take Luca. Oh, yeah.
And the prophet strikes again. And for the hero medal turn-in, we get a Prism Shard.
So we get more fetch quests.
This is starting to sound kind of familiar.
Oh boy.
Thomas Pop behind Prism Shard.
Let's see if he's going straight to it or if he's going somewhere else. He's changing his mind. Well, Choco's placing the Moonstone. Where did he get the Moonstone from?
Think it's for sale at the Snail Stop.
Okay. So he's gone and just picked it up immediately. And he's getting it charged, so whenever he gets future access, it'll be ready to go.
Cthulhu, bad Cthulhu. Choco placed the Moonstone, so Moon needs to go place a Choco Stone.
Magus does not agree with what the king is saying. He's just shaking his head. So we're seeing some more divergence here where Moon is doing the fetch quest while Choco is going through Reptite Lair. It looks like he might be doing a little bit of grinding here. Let's see if he leaves to get more levels or if he's going to be just going down. He's just going to opt to go down. Didn't like where his techs were going, so he says, let's go now.
And doesn't even reset to try and get the secret passageway for the extra items either.
See, we see not too much good in the Melchior shop. I saw some barriers. I saw a Kaiser arm, but I don't think Kaiser is better than Terra.
I mean, Terra's half Esper, so...
Yeah, she is. Moon about to make the Hecarim play, so we're going to be able to find out that... Or he's going to find out about the Chrono Trigger. Let's see if he's going to opt to take a lot of these fights as well, or if he's going to just try and get out of there as fast as possible.
Yep, and we're seeing lots of Dark Bombs over on Choco's side. The trick to all dinosaurs, apparently, is you have to hit them with lightning if you want to punch them or cut them. However, they're weak to magic. It's just in the vanilla game, you don't have access to good magic at that point because you have Chrono and Ayla in your party.
Looks like Moon is taking a really slow approach and just gonna take these guys down one at a time. It is a slow fight for 25 tech points. It is a good amount of tech points, but this is a slow fight. Oh! He's one-shotting in physical attacks.
Yeah, the octopi are not strong against physical. The pot was, I think.
It's been so long since I've actually tried to fight anything in here.
Ooh, a red mail for Choco. That's going to be very helpful if you end up in the future and need to go do the Son of Sun fight. Get that fire immunity going.
And we saw that he charmed a red vest off someone earlier, so he's at 2 healing. 2 fire healing armors.
And Marl has a prism dress. She ignores half or a third of the damage anyway.
So he's going to be in pretty good shape for Son of Sun if we ever get to the future. Evil Knievel said we have a 3rd red vest, so he might have full fire healing if we get to that point where it's necessary. So on one end, we are looking at fetch quests, and then on Choco's side, we're hoping for some form of progression to be coming out of this fight here.
Yeah, and I see him put a Frenzy Band on Marl. A, it's Marl. Do you really want her to be using a Frenzy Band? And B, it doesn't do anything for this fight because you don't have any lightning damage.
I think Robo has shock. I think I saw Robo has shock.
Oh, okay. I'll take it back then. We do have lightning damage.
But as Procky's pointing out, he has not done a desert check, so he doesn't know that there's a terror arm Terra Arm hidden inside. So,
and all these Frenzy Band attacks aren't going anywhere. 10 damage, 20 damage.
now as we had mentioned earlier, Ozzy's fort is going to be required for finishing this because of meeting donations. When do you expect these guys to go there?
I hope it will be like. I figure it will be right after they get go mode is when they'll go. I would like for it to be a little bit earlier just so that it's a little bit more interesting of a fight. But maybe if they have to do Giant's Claw, they knock out Ozzy's fort while they're there because it's literally next door.
Moon throwing some Uzi punches at Heckran for 24 damage. I guess every little bit helps.
Yeah. I wonder if that. I was gonna say. I wonder if that was a misclick. But coming in here with a second damaging attack might make the fight one round faster.
These guys in their dungeon clears are pretty well synced up that they're both hitting boss fights at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And they're not even the same boss fights. How are they this synced up like that?
Sign of good game design. Every dungeon takes roughly the same amount of time.
That's interesting. Alright, looks like Heckran's finished, so Moon's about to get his Chrono trigger. We'll see if he starts to fetch quests or if he is going to be heading to Reptite Lair next.
So the release of shock energy coming out from Nizbel, that's a fair bit of damage. Robo is in kill range.
Getting that heal beam off to just get everybody back up, but been a bit of a slow Nizbel.
Yeah, Dark Bomb is not the most powerful magic attack, and no one has much of anything else. The Frenzy Band hits also aren't helping much because they're all coming when he's not shocked, so it's taking full damage. Or not taking full damage.
And there's the end of Nizbel, and Moon is saying in his gut that Prism Shard is the play to make. We'll see if he's correct. Dark Matter learned on Choco's side, so he's gonna see Magus start doing insane amounts of damage.
And he gets
is a bent hilt.
Broken Sword.
Not what he is looking for. Doing a quick heal, and I'm guessing that he is going to be heading straight to Denadoro Mountains.
Yeah, and basically we're gonna also... Desert!
No, he's making the desert play, okay.
And that means he's gonna get his Terra Arm. I didn't see how many tech points it is for him to learn Ice, but apparently the answer is enough that he's gonna go to Denadoro first.
He's changing his mind a little bit and back to Denadoro.
No, never mind. I kind of want Ice Magic.
I was eventually correct.
Yeah, the trick with the Ret Knight in the desert is that if you don't have Ice Magic, his defense is significantly higher and his dodge rate is also higher, so you're more likely to miss, and Robo is notorious for missing all the time anyway.
Oh.
So...
And this seems to be a Robo weapon seed because we also found a Giga Arm on Moon's side inside the castle basement.
I don't know, I feel like the randomizer
There's
really...
the pendant.
Oh! I go say,
Prism is the play, so it's gonna be up to Choco to make the play not to go to Desert after this, to also start the fetch quest once he gets it here, if he's gonna start catching up to Moon, because he is gonna head straight to Future after this.
yeah, and I was going to say that I felt like the randomizer always seems to give us robo weapons all the time. I feel like I get all these arms, but then it turns around and acts nice and is like, here's some progression. So you can't be too angry at it.
Choco is doing everything he can to skip as many fights as possible here as well. And he's just going to be making his way to Masa and Mune, and with Dark Matter, that fight should just be trivial at worst.
Yeah, having Dark Matter for Maggots early, it's not quite as good as Flare, but it's pretty darn close.
Dark Matter is about as strong as you can get without being Flare.
And at least early in the game, there's nothing with shadow resistance. The downside is on the back end of the game, a whole bunch of stuff, particularly in Black Omen, absorb shadow damage instead, and Dark Matter kind of takes a nosedive.
Yes. You know, for all the characters, he will be strong in a Black Omen seed to fight Giga Mutant and Terra Mutant, but he is not the most ideal for the rest of it, and especially not an ideal character for the Zeal 2 fight itself.
Or the Elder Lava Spawn. He's got nothing that's pure single target.
Yeah.
And now Moon is doing the Yakra the 13th fight. It might be interesting to know. We had someone ask, like, well, why is there not any more Yakras? Because even though you kill this Yakra, you kill the first Yakra, and this one still shows up. So why aren't there future Yakras? If you do the math, it is very likely that the Yakra in 2300 AD is Yakra the 42nd, which means Yakra is the answer to life, universe, and everything.
There's a Yakra in 2300 AD?
No, they were saying if there was a Yakra.
Oh.
Like, to replace,
if there was a Yakra.
Yeah, to, like, replace Crawley or something in the sewers.
Ah. What if Crawley is that the Yakras had to, like, slink down into the sewers and they just lived as, like, subterranean trash monsters for the rest of their lives?
So yeah, all life begins with new and ends with new, but Yakra is the answer. Alright, so now we have Yakra fights and Massive Moon fights at the same time. Again.
Yeah, we're synced again on boss fights. These guys. I don't know how they're doing it.
I mean, they did it half the last seed, too.
Yeah, I like coming up with these headcanon versions of the game and why things are the way they are.
You gotta have something to excuse all the time shenanigans.
Robo's hit rate is just so bad. He just misses and Yakra's not even moving.
I know, I'm trying to think. My favorite thing is watching Robo, like, attack Lava Shell and missing. I'm like, it's a giant shell. It fills up the entire screen. How did you miss? Well, Cthulhu with some more headcanon. Chrono's cat jumps into the portal at the end of the game, but he comes out at Ozzy's fort and is the reason that you're able to defeat Ozzy.
Well, there's also theories that the cat that drops inside Giant's Claw could also be Chrono's cat.
Maybe it's Chrono's cat that's the reason the gates exist.
Maybe.
Which is all the more reason you should go pet your validation cat every game.
I think that out of the Procky is talking about when he misses a tag when he's just falling. I think that Frog has the best miss animation when he bonks when he misses his leap slash. The sound is so satisfying to just hear the boom.
And he hits his head on a ceiling.
His jump is too strong.
Okay, it's time for you to skip leg day.
All right, now we're gonna see who is he going to be sending into the future. Because one of these three characters is about to be arrested.
I'm guessing he'll have it be...
Oh, is he not
No?
sending him down there? Is he making some purchases here?
Maybe
Is he
he's
buying-
gonna go buy the Moonstone?
Oh, he's the Moonstone. He wants to purchase it. He's thinking there's something behind that. So we'll see. He's probably gonna drop it off in 65 million before he goes. Yeah. Is Chrono's cat technically Magus's child's cat?
The important questions. I mean, the race is good and all.
I don't think so, seeing as Magus's cat was purple. Unless he got his hair done.
Someone's saying it's a chameleon cat. Iguana cat.
Choco about to go find out that he's gonna have another fetch quest check.
Yep.
Oh, we do have a new spotting.
We do have the new. The new has blessed the run. And Choco's gonna realize, yeah, I'm probably not getting Luca today.
But we are seeing he's sending Magus to the future, or to the jail.
This is one of my favorite things in the randomizer. 400 years ago, you couldn't defeat his armies. Now you're sending him to jail. And he just walks willingly. We couldn't defeat you, so we're just going to arrest you instead.
Choco, not liking the fetch quest idea, is going to be going to check out the deserts.
Oh, poor Choco. If only you knew.
Ah.
I mean, it's possible that something good's here. Like, it could be Dreamstone or Ruby
There could be
Knife.
something important here, but it feels bad when you know from our perspective when we know that the pendant is available to him.
The other funny jail scene is when Marl gets arrested for stealing the pendant that belongs to her.
Yep. That's my favorite one.
And those are the people who need Bail Project, which is the organization being supported by the Tournament of Hope that Randomania has been doing this entire week. So definitely go check out the Bail Project. There is a link somewhere. There it is. Thank you, Beanie. Go check that out. Donate some money to a good cause. Help get Magus out of jail. Hey, Cthulhu's Guard, have you been arrested for stealing your own stuff?
And there's the Terra arm and the big hand. And that's enough to swap those two guys in for physical attacks.
He's like, and Robo.
Oh, the Demon Edge is a sword for Chrono. The naming of those swords is confusing sometimes. The Bronze Edge is for Frog, but Demon Edge is for Chrono. Can't one of them have edges and the other one have non-edges?
One of them blades, one of them swords.
Yeah, something. A little more clarity.
Yeah, Moon is taking all of the fights in the jail, were they dropping something good? Mid-ethers. Okay.
Mid-ether. That's okay.
All the more reason.
Did he
Don't say
rescue
Fritz. No Fritz.
I don't know if I don't think he rescued Fritz.
No one say Fritz.
Without Chrono, I don't think that Choco will be either.
Well, we know where Chrono is, though. Chrono is in the Protodome.
He is going to be in Protodome. Choco opting to take out the legs first on Ret Knight. Personally, I am a take out the head, then the legs. I don't actually know which one's better. And if anybody out there is interested in this, one of the things you do not want to do against Ret Knight is you do not want to kill the core until last, because it will make the rest of the Ret Knight very, very upset, and will start to raise its defense, attack much faster, and attack much harder.
And cast stop.
So once it's and cast, it just gets crazy. So you want to try and get it off, and if you can beat the core before it runs away, you actually get 2,000 extra experience points and 20 extra tech points. So you definitely want to be killing off the legs and the head first, and sometimes you even have to heal the core just to not make the poor guy upset. And we'll be figuring out what we get from the desert. We still haven't figured that one out because Moon's not done it.
Yeah, we're going to have another time paradox as Robo will be helping Robo recover from his Robo hibernation.
While Robo is also farming.
And later, Robo will still be farming after the forest is grown by Robo. Well, that's a pitiful shrine shop. It has the guaranteed lapis, and that's about it.
With a robot, could be another robot built identically.
It could be, because they have the R-66Y series, but all the other ones are purple. And these are not.
Not Atropos.
No, Atropos is pink. That's fair. Ruby Knife is behind Desert.
Ruby Knife. Okay.
Okay, so maybe Desert's not a bad play, because now he's one item from Go Mode.
So we are one item, three separate items can give us Go Mode should we find it. We just have to find the bent sword, the Dreamstone, or the clone. And we are in Go Mode.
Now here's a fun question. Given how the last race went, if Moon goes and fights, say, Son of Sun, and gets the other... Well, he's missing... He doesn't have the bent hilt. I was going to say, if he gets the other part of the Massamoon, is he going to go back through Magus's castle again?
Prism specs. Man, the sealed doors are generous today.
Ayla's upset, Robo's getting jazzercised, and Marl is being polite. Somehow that feels oddly accurate.
Where was the bent hilt at earlier?
Must be Reptite.
Reptite.
Speedbelt's
we'll see
nice.
What the play is. I imagine that because of the availability of some fire healing things, we might see just right away going to Son of Sun and Aristome before going to Reptite. It's always good to do Aristome if you're looking for a check, just because you have the early pendant charge, which allows you to go through those sealed doors and start opening sealed chests right away. And you see right there, he could have saved a little bit had he bought 99 ethers at the very beginning. Instead, he bought 20 more.
I'll say, Moon has interested me in the lab checks. Lab 16 and Lab 32 each have one chest fairly close to the beginning. And for some reason, they always have something decently good. I mean, this time it was a lapis, and that's probably the worst thing I have seen in those chests. I've gotten hyper ethers. I've gotten a prism specs out of one. What else have I got?
There's
been a ton.
It's not a very big time consumption, but it can pay off. Something you'll see here on Moon is when you're fighting Son of Sun, you cannot hit the correct flame on the first cycle, and you have to wait for the roulette shuffle, and then you can take your turns trying to find the correct flame.
Yep, you can also use Black Hole to absorb some of the flames if you have Black Hole.
First try every time.
And
So
I was
he
gonna
has got
say
that down.
you can use AoE attacks to hit multiple small flames at once. Slash on Chrono or Flame Toss on Luca. Both can do that without hitting the center and causing a flare. But if you get it first time every time, you don't need any of that.
So we are looking for 10 hits total on the flames. Robo getting in a counterattack there. So fortunately, counterattacking doesn't trigger flare. And then we'll be finding out what Son of Sun is going to be dropping for us. And Choco, he might be feeling like he's a bit behind at this point because I believe that this was the last available check for himself before he got the pendant.
Yeah, having that, oh, I could have come here 3 checks ago feeling is not very fun in a race.
It is not. And it looks like Moon is at his 10 hits. The sun is losing its flames. And we're going to find out what the item is going to be. And it could be, there's a decent chance it's going to be one of the go mode items.
And we get a clone.
A clone.
That is go mode.
Go mode. Go mode at 1 hour, 1 minute.
That's about 20 minutes faster than the last race.
And I imagine that he is going to be going straight to Death Peak, not even stopping anywhere else. If he can find it. He looks a little lost. Oh, we're going...
Where are we going,
Let's
Moon?
go, Moon. You can do it. You can do it.
Press select, open up the map.
You can do it, Moon. You can find it. No, not there.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Now, I have done that so many times.
He found it.
Remember, if you get lost, you do have a map.
I'm the map. I'm the map. Map.
Oh. Oh. Bad taco. Alright, so Yakra is doing things. We finally have not dueling bosses for possibly the first boss fight in the race.
Yeah, this might be the first boss fight that they're not both in a boss fight.
I mean, I guess, no, Son of Sun, they started while he was doing Desert, so...
Well, was he fighting Ret Knight at the time? Or did that
I think Red Knight was finishing up as Son of Sun started.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
not quite as synced, but apparently going to the future breaks all syncing.
Yeah.
Star Scythe for charming Yakra. I don't know how in the world you charm something that hideous, but Ayla can do it.
Moon, you're in go mode and you're still doing item checks.
Also, you got to go do Ozzy's Fort.
Oh, yeah, don't forget Ozzy's Fort. Is he remembering? Is he remembering Ozzy's Fort? I think he remembered.
No, wait,
Ooh.
wrong.
That's 1000 AD.
I mean, technically he could do it after clearing Death's Peak.
He could.
I mean, he may be questioning, do I want to climb Death's Peak at level 18 with Mara with literally no helmet?
Absolutely you do. Absolutely you do.
You've got Robo with a Terra Arm and Uzi Punch, you're fine. But,
And we'll see if he grabs the swag power tab.
he tried.
He missed it. He tried, but he missed it. Uh-oh, get up there, get up there.
Yeah, I skip it. I'm always afraid that I'm going to miss that cycle. So I always skip that power tab. Maybe catch it on the way back if I have Ayla in my team, but...
Ooh, messed up the encounter skip right there. Choco finishing up that, so he's going to be starting his trial sequences, and hopefully he's going to make the decision to go for Son of Sun as well.
Happy to support the worthy cause. Let's see a Berserked Wonder Shot.
Thank you very much for that donation. And here we saw a Magus go to jail, and Choco is opting to send Ayla to jail. The only one that actually makes sense to go through a jail sequence because she escapes without a weapon. Everybody else, they're left with a gun or a sword or a scythe.
Yeah, makes you wonder about the effectiveness of the judicial system in Guardia.
Yeah. They have it down in Dark Ages, though. If Blackbird was still a thing in there, you wouldn't have your weapons for it. And no, we have not found a Wonder Shot, and Luca is still locked behind the behind Frog's Burrow. So I'm gonna say that the odds of a Wonder Shot with Berserker are very, very low.
We do, however, have a Berserk Ayla in the prison. And Moon is taking on his Lavo Spawn. Magus is still kind of meh on this because he can't hit just the head. But you've got Robo with Uzi Punch. I think you're good.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if we might see a character swap out for Frog for Magus for the final fights. He might keep him in there just to have Dark Matter for the mutant fights, but it will basically be Dark Bombs and Uzi Punches to fight Zeal, which is not very fast.
I would expect him to swap in Ayla for Magus for the final fight.
Oh, that's right, Ayla.
Triple kick.
Ayla, who is about the best character you can have for it.
If you can get her enough tech points. Choco is going to go free Fritz.
Oh, I don't think he's going to free him. I think he's getting the chest and leaving him right there. I do not think we have a free Fritz. Oh,
Choco is freezing free Fritz.
Choco, you're a good guy.
Choco is a participant of the Bail Project.
Good guy, Choco Sura. I say we just take 10 seconds off of Moon's time, or add to his time for not rescuing Fritz. All right, we see the Lavo spawn is down, so we are going to be able to watch a beautiful cinematic sequence of the Black Omen being summoned, because instead of rescuing our dear friend Chrono, We are actually just using this as a way of getting the Black Omen out so we can go inside and kill Zeal.
Ooh, a vigil
A
hat.
vigil.
I always forget that chest is there.
Vigil hat is much better for a fight with Lavos than it is with Zeal. But it has its uses against the mutant fights because they can put you to sleep or chaos you.
I mean, to be fair, right now Marl's wearing an iron helm, so
It's a slight upgrade from Iron Helm. I'll give you that.
It's slightly better.
All right, Choco taking off the Berserker and putting Frenzy Band back on. Silver Stud for Magus, so we can spam those Dark Matters for 10 MP as opposed to 20. And we are going to see a very, very quick fight for Dragon Tank.
Yeah, Dragon Tank has no defense against shadow damage. It is possible that Dark Matter will one-shot it.
I think it has about 1,000 to 1,200 per part, so I think that is a very good, a very likely thing. And yes, currently Moon Blizzard has a very sizable lead in that he knows he's in go mode, whereas Chokosura will have to make the correct choice once he gets to the future to get to it. But he's at least a dungeon and a half ahead, assuming that Choco also does Son of Sun as his next check.
And that Moon remembers to go do
Ozzy's for it. He's in the correct era. He's in the correct era for it. If he does not do Ozzy's Fort, that could be a very big setback because then he'd have to reset and leave Black Omen to go back and do it for his time to count.
Yeah, it's not so bad if you're fighting Lavos, because
he remembered.
Right there.
He remembered.
Ozzy's Fort. All right, so give us a rundown on Ozzy's Fort, because I've not been in there, because I've not done the Medina Redeemed variant. I know next to nothing of Ozzy's Fort.
Ozzy's Fort is a really fun dungeon. It has absolutely no progression, no key items, or anything like that. It has high tier loot inside. There's 4 treasure chests before, and there's 2 after fighting them. They're going to be high tier loot, and you have to go through a short boss gauntlet with Super Slash, Flea Plus, and then the trio all together. It does have a gimmick when you get to the 3rd fight that when they are all together, they are incredibly powerful, especially if you decide to do an AoE magic attack or you hit Ozzy. They will hit you back with a triple tech of their own, and it is strong enough to possibly wipe a party if you are not prepared for it. The strategy for doing that is to wear fire-absorbing armor, and you attack Super Slash, who has 4,000 HP. And if you can get rid of Super Slash, then it will automatically cause Flea to run away, and then Ozzy does nothing while he's by himself, and then you can just beat Ozzy till he runs away and does his typical, I'm gonna be a crystal.
Ice Block is a perfectly valid spell for mages.
What is that character? It's like May from Overwatch.
I was thinking any mage from World of Warcraft, but yes.
I've never played WoW.
I would say you're missing out, but that's only really true if you were playing like 7-8 years ago. Oh, party wipe!
We see a green dream. Oh my gosh. 2 green dreams.
Does everyone have a green dream?
2 green dreams. This is a tough fight if you aren't prepared for it. Moon must have foresaw his own death if he was prepared for green dream, because that's not normally a play I would make.
Yeah, the downside is you can only do it once.
Yeah, so he's got to finish off before. I think this dark matter might be enough to finish it. At least I hope for his sake that it is, because she will counter back hard. There it is.
Whew, that was close. Now, the nice thing about Green Dream that I did not learn until the randomizer. It says a one-time res. What it really means, one-time res per fight.
Yeah.
I always thought Green Dream was a one-time use and it would disappear. And I was like, well, the only time I'd want to use it would be versus Lavos. But if I use it, then I have no accessory for the rest of the fight. That seems pointless.
Yes, it is one-time res per fight. And here we're going to see an incredibly difficult fight against these two blue Ogans. So we got to watch and see how Moon is going to take care of these guys. Oh.
Ozzy does not have good fort design.
Ozzy's in the pickle. And we do see on Chokosura's side while we're having fun in there, he did make the correct choice. And he went straight to Son of Sun, and he is going to find his clone and enter Go mode in just about 1 or 2 minutes.
Oh, we see Moon is finally going through and using all of his tabs. He's held on to them this entire game. And literally every single tab onto the giant robot.
He is one of the funny characters that he uses every single tab well. That you can increase his healing, you can increase his speed, he's a very slow character, and you are using Uzi Punch as a main damage source for him. Unfortunately, by throwing all of them on him, it means you are weakening the potential damage you're going to be doing with Magus or with Marl, but they're not going to be, when you get to Zeal, they're not going to be your main source of damage.
Yeah, and the magic tabs do not affect your magic damage as much as they affect your magic healing. So
yeah, the effects of increasing your healing can be noticeably larger depending on your playstyle. Ooh, a Maggie Elixir. That's a good drop.
Yep. But a lot of times in like the OG trio teams, like I have Marl, I have Luca, I have Chrono. I will use my magic tabs on Chrono, not because I want Luminaire to do more damage, because he's going to use Confuse for damage, but because I want his life spell to actually heal for more.
Moon's going to do a safety save right here because even though he does have the right equipment for a good setup on the trio, they still can go wrong, and if you don't save, that's redoing 3 boss fights. So that is definitely, if he were to die, that will save him about 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh, this treasure chest has amazing stuff in it. You gotta go get it. No, Moon, don't leave
Immediately.
it.
Don't leave it behind. It's filled with goodies. Choco, finishing up his fight with Son of Sun, is about to get his clone. Let's hope that he remembers to go do the Ozzy's fort as well.
Woo, a mid-tonic. That was so worth it.
So good.
That's actually a pretty poor set of chests.
That was bad. I was talking up these places like they're gonna have great items, and then they're filled with ethers and tonics. Let's see, did Moon remember to switch over to fire-absorbing armor, or is he gonna rely on those green dreams? A note that Flea Plus's flame-looking attack there is not fire damage. However, when she casts that onto Super Slash's sword, it becomes fire damage. Why? Because they felt like it. Aha, he does have fire-absorbing armor.
Yep,
Very
so
good.
Robo is capable of absorbing fire damage, and that may be all that matters.
And he's got haste on him, so he's just going to be 2 more Uzi punches from victory. Maybe. If people don't die here. Oh, goodness gracious, Magus almost died.
Robo is out of MP.
Oh, he needs to get one attack onto Flea Plus, and that will cause her to flee. Or he's just going to go right to Dark Matter, which will also cause her to flee, and then you're left with a defenseless Ozzy that you can basic attack to death, or you can use spells to speed it up.
And Choco is doing his Ozzy's Fort as well.
So both runners remembering to do that. Very good.
Thank you to everyone for donating for that incentive to have a slightly different set of runs for the second run.
Also, discounted prices in Medina Village.
I forgot that was a thing. I've never even thought about trying to go back and shop there.
I don't ever either. Most of the time when I'm doing Ozzy's Fort, it's because it's a gimmicky run.
Yeah, we do have a special run type that we call Medina Redeemed, where you have to have an extra program to validate your seed to be completable by 2 characters. You have to start with Magus and Frog, and you don't get another character the entire run. You defeat Ozzy's Fort and then go fight Lavos and whatnot with just those 2 characters.
I like to call that one Buddy Cop. You're two the unlikely duo working together to bring justice back to Magus's castle and Ozzy's Fort. And we get to see, potentially, as we had mentioned earlier in chat, is this Chrono's cat that's about to flip the switch in Ozzy's Fort. A black vest off the panel switch, that's pretty important for Zeal 2, as shadow absorbing armor is fantastic.
Good job, Cat.
Bye, Ozzy. All right. Moon, you are now able to go and finish off.
Moon is now in true go mode.
True go mode. We get to all experience the collective disappointment again when Chocosura gets to open up a mid-tonic and an ether and another ether and something else I don't even remember. Is he checking it out? Oh, he went to 1,000. He's maybe doing some millennial fair shopping for shelters and revives.
I was going to say, 12 shelters, that's a bit excessive. You need 5 shelters if you want to heal for every major boss in Black Omen.
Okay, let's see if Chocosura has the correct setup. I didn't see his armor. If he's got fire absorbing or if he's using different strategies. Beast Toss is doing a lot of damage. He just needs to survive 2 or get 2 Beast Tosses off. And there's fire absorbing. He knows the strats. You can't pull one over on Chocosura.
Moon checking out a couple of sealed chests. Mermaid Cap is not bad.
That's great for Zeal. Magic Tab feels bad. And there's the end of Ozzy's Chocosura's Ozzy fights.
At least the interesting part.
Something pretty satisfying about watching a Beast Toss on Ozzy.
Yeah.
Dropping the green dreams, throwing some speed onto there so we can get a faster kill on the robots right at the very beginning of Black Omen, I have wiped here, and I didn't save before, and so I
Yeah.
had to complete other stuff because these robots, if you are not fast enough, can absolutely wipe your team.
Yeah, if they go off and decide, you know what, we're going to self-destruct all 6 of them, even at 999 HP, your party will die.
Yeah, they can do 200 damage each self-destruct. And Ozzy is down.
So now we will see Moon making his way through Black Omen. Choco is going to have another one of those godly Black Omen runs like he did in the first race to catch up here. There is some potential, but Moon's pretty good at most of the skips too.
Yeah, and Choco still has to go through and do Death Peak as well. So he's got some ground to make up if he's going to catch up to him. I do, however, like Choco's party better than Moon's for Zeal.
Yeah, it's better Zeal party. It's not as good of a party for the mutants. In fact, that team might have issues with the mutants.
It might. Because you're relying on Shock, Ice 2, and Tailspin. Shock and Ice 2 aren't the strongest AoE techs, and Tailspin, not the highest amount of damage, and it's only single target.
Now, you might be able to do either Ice Tackle or Cube Toss and get better damage.
I think that still counts as physical, half of it, so you're not going to get that much of a boost for it.
Oh.
Yeah, and we're gonna see on Moon's side though that there are gonna be plenty of enemies that are going to absorb this shadow damage, so he's not gonna have a strong AoE clear unless that Ice 2 is gonna be strong enough from Marl.
And I don't know that she's even learned Ice 2 yet.
And Magus' version of those spells are not nearly as strong. For example, Magus' Ice 2 is not as good as Marl's, and his Fire 2 is not as good as Luca's, so we can't necessarily rely on those either.
Yeah, that has to do with a little hidden stat in the game that if you cast a magic spell that is your element, you do like an extra 50% damage or something with it. And the only character that really affects is Magus, and technically Robo because Shock is lightning damage and he's a shadow type character.
I don't even think he has a type at all. I think that it's just he's capable, or his lasers are considered shadow, kind of as a nod to the player that this is what kind of damage it's doing.
Yeah, now I want to say maybe it still showed shadow under his name, but maybe not. It's been a while since I've looked.
Yeah,
Regardless,
and spell power associated with those spells, the Magus versions are just lower spell power. So Magus he's capable of doing them. They're just weaker versions of it. Oh, Moon getting the first eye skip.
And the second.
Second eye skip. Oh,
I don't know that you can get the third one. I don't know that it allows it, but
the Mad Lad 2 out of 3 is still great.
Oh, I forgot Choco hadn't done Death's Peak yet. He's got to climb Death's Peak too.
Yes. He has got a lot of ground to make up. Moon getting another skip here, cutting that corner.
Yeah, so these fights here, you get good experience, you get good tech points. The big difference here, and what did I miss?
They're dropping speed tabs.
Oh, well.
I don't think this fight is grindable. But if you do, there are times that you find a speed tab drop, and that is one of the most powerful drops in the game because nothing is better than 2-star speed characters all around. We don't know if it was the Red Boys or the Mutants that were dropping it, but one of those two are dropping some speed tabs. So if those are, we might be seeing some extra fights here if they are the Red Boys.
And there's at least one more possible fight against mutants, too.
We'll see what's going on. Moon, sometimes these elevator fights will get you where you can skip the fights entirely. Sometimes you end up with a couple of fights on each elevator, and he's got 2 so far. Bad luck on that.
Yeah, you can have anywhere from 0 to 3 fights. It is completely random. We have not found anything that controls how many you get.
Choco able to squeak through. Yeah, Ruminator, they absorb that shadow of dark type damage. So you are looking for fire damage or for ice damage to finish them off. My go-to is usually, if you're worried about if you can kill it, try fire.
I don't think there's any enemy except for Son of Sun, maybe, that like absorbs fire. Zombor absorbs fire damage. That may be it.
Yeah, part of Zombor.
Yeah, and Moon got all 3 fights on the elevator.
That is some bad luck. Yep, the top half of Zombor will absorb fire. So the Zombor fight is actually, the top halves, they're just split separately. So the top half, I believe, absorbs lightning and fire, and the bottom half absorbs ice and shadow. So you can just cast the other element on the other halves, but they each absorb 2 elements.
And Moon here has actually picked up 3 skips and gets a 4th one. 4 skips in that room.
Gets it. He's flying through. Now here's a great room for items.
Prism Helm.
Helm's a good start. Swallow would be good if we had Chrono. Magic Tab's not great. Ether. Mega Elixir. All right, new.
Wonder Shot is for sale! We could have had the Berserker Wonder Shot!
No!
Yeah, if you have money left over, buy a Wonder Shot for tribute.
So what's the difference between preventing status and locking status? For the context of the randomizer, I don't know that there is a difference, but I think there might be a difference in other versions. For example, there's an armor called Ozzy's Pants that is the strongest defensive item in the game. However, it also causes chaos. So I don't know if preventing it means you can't have things cast on you, but if you're wearing armor like Ozzy's Pants, if it stops that, however, locking your status would prevent it. I'm completely speculating here, and I could be completely wrong about that, but that might be my only guess based on the wording.
Alright, so we have a Lavo spawn fight with Marl taking shots with a crossbow, a robot punching it in the face repeatedly, and Ayla is tossing out ethers.
Oh my gosh. Choco nailed this, but Moon wasn't able to hit the exit.
Yeah,
I think that they're based on negative status effects and not ones that benefit your team. But again, I am not sure, and that could be pure speculation. Moon opting to wait. Oh, One Eye is being kind. This is one of those times that it probably would have been faster just to take the fight and run away. All right, we'll see if we're gonna take this, and we're gonna find out if the speed tab is on the red boy.
You kind of hope it is on the Red Boys, because there are more of those to fight throughout.
Yeah. And this one actually might be a grindable fight if he decides to leave the room and come back into it. However, that does mean he would have to run from the eyes again.
And really, at this point, more speed tabs probably isn't going to do too much for you because there aren't that many fights left. Now, your team includes Marl and Robo, both of who are super slow. Another prism dress.
Wow.
Put Ayla in
you
the
think
party.
Robo would wear a dress?
I think you could tell Robo to wear a dress. I'm sure there's a switch somewhere where you can switch them so that he can wear a dress.
I mean, the difference between him and Atropos is a ribbon, so...
If we got a palette swap, could he equip Prism Dress?
So, for the blocking versus preventing, I don't think... I would treat it as there is no difference until told otherwise. I wasn't paying attention. Did we get speed tabs from those fights?
I stopped paying attention too. I was trying to look at chat to hear the discussion.
I was relying on you.
Oh, I was relying on you while I was reading chat.
But on it.
Procky says no. Good job, Tracker. The Tracker's the one that has to pay the most attention. Oh, look, a speed tab in a chest.
All right, and now we're going to see Chokosura starting his climb through the Black Omen. He's got a long ways to make up, though.
Yeah, a gold stud just dropped for Moon right before the fight against the Terra Mutant.
That is a great item to find if you're spamming that. This party, though, the gold stud might not be used, if I'm being honest, because you might use them for the fights with mutants, but a lot of your spells that are single target from this group do not cost that much mana that you might find something more defensive. Choco getting inside, he's getting got that speed up so he can get inside the dungeon very fast.
And Moon trying to balance out all of the different elemental males to get things covered. For the Terra Mutant fights, white males are one of your better defensive options because it will cast Shining Bit, which is a lightning attack that does pretty massive damage. There is, I think, a fire attack on this one. There is definitely a fire attack on the Giga Mutant and on Elder Lavo's spawn.
Ace Pickle Rick, we love this game too. Happy to have you here.
Magus got taken down super early. I didn't see if that was one of the throwing stars or something else, but you've just lost your massive magic damage in this party.
It's alright. Life 2 makes it all okay. Kiss the boo-boo and make it better.
Now you have to have Ayla for kissing.
Well, fine if you want to be technical about things. Maybe I want frog slurps to make it feel better. Yes, technically correct. The best kind of correct. Alright. Oh, and we are charming the wall panels to get elixirs.
That's not bad.
So I believe in the vanilla version of this, you could charm speed tabs off the wall panels. Which is pretty good, considering you fight about, like, what, 20 different panels? Dark Moon did the art that we are seeing on our screen. for our background and did a fantastic job. I love looking at it every time it's on there.
Yeah, no, the Jets of Time logo, that's pretty freaking awesome. That was a really well done thing.
Boom, we're seeing Berserkers getting thrown on, so... Or a Berserker thrown on, so... Maybe that's going to be a sign that he's going to be taking some of these fights here against the Eyes to try and collect some stuff. And they might have good drops, too. 1,000 experience points, 100 tech points, and maybe a top-tier item.
Yeah, no, I have fought them and had these drop speed tabs before.
I've gotten Mega Elixirs off these guys.
That's a nice find.
Yes, it was. And Giga Mutant is down. Just got a measly mid-ether.
That's not really worth the most annoying fight in the game.
That's okay. For a team that has no AoE heals, that could be pretty useful. Alright, elevator number 2. Lapis and Elixirs, I missed the Elixir. Lapis and Elixir, that got that improved it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, particularly since there's no AoE healing available for Choco's team.
Yeah, and Moon having bad luck on these elevators. This would be fight number 4 on them. And most recently, I think I've gotten through this without any fights on the elevators. So 4... There, he's through. He only had 1 on that fight. Alright, we got Bat Skip coming up on Moon's side if he's going to be able to run by 2 fast-moving bats without triggering a fight. I am not very good at this one.
Yeah,
Moon and Pugwaser are both very good at this one.
Yeah, I have never been able to skip this, skip the bats.
Well, picking up Terra arms here. And he got through. Man, he's good at it.
That's ridiculous.
Ice 2 is the final tech for Marl. That feels bad.
It's not quite so important since there's no Luca. And you don't need it for Antipode.
Not so bad, but against Terra and Giga Mutant, you kind of want her to have some form of AoE attack.
True.
Tubster's giving Moon a little bit of trouble here. Choco also having some elevator fight issues, not getting any of them to just skip through.
Yeah, the deal with the Tubsters is they don't do anything until you attack them. But they each have 1500 HP and they absorb shadow damage. So there is nothing in the inventory for Moon to actually take care of them quickly. Even Uzi Punch was only doing 1,000 damage.
Only 1,000. Someone's had too many Prism Spec Seeds.
No, it's just Flare does 2,000 damage, so... And his AoE. Which is why Luca's 2 OP.
Luca is very good. Oh, those Ruminators. Giving Choco the biz right now. Yep, Prism Specs and Crisis Arms are good if you can get a consistent 999 HP or just a 9 to single digit on Robo. I generally tend for Crisis Arm plus Gold Earring just to ensure the max HP. Yeah, I saw the new Mega Elixir again. They are going to be sitting pretty when it comes to fighting Zeal.
Moon has 5 Mega Elixirs.
I'm gonna be surprised if he used more than one. I mean, he could start using them as shelters at this point.
Yeah. But you can do nice things like you can now ignore Gold Stud as an item because you just throw elixirs and mega elixirs.
You can. And Choco gonna be slightly disappointed and then really disappointed when he doesn't get to use Wonder Shot.
Buy the Wonder Shot anyway! I expect to, well, I was gonna say I expect to see him buy a few elixirs, but he's just got the mega elixirs. I don't know that you need the regular ones.
Just a little insurance, something in the back pocket in case you need it. These tubsters, they're just jerks. Yeah, just walk away. He's not even worth your time. Terra Mutant is an interesting one that it functions very similar to the first Mutant fight. However, it has much less HP, so if you're able to finish off the top portion of the Terra Mutant before it starts absorbing some HP from the bottom portion, you can get this fight over in 2 or 3 attacks.
Yeah, I want to say you do have to do a certain amount of damage to the lower part, though, and he absorbs all magic damage.
No, you don't have to damage the bottom at all.
Okay, for some reason I thought there had to be a little bit of damage that went in, but never mind.
It's one of those rare characters that does not function without a head, whereas every other character in this game seems to be okay if they lose their head. Yeah, 5,000 HP top, which is not very much, especially considering where we are late in the game. However, it does heal for about 1,400 each time it starts slurping.
Yeah, if you get double prison specs on Marluka, you can do 5,000 damage in a single attack.
You can, absolutely.
You start one-shotting Giga Mutant, one-shot Zeal, one-shot Mammoth Machine.
Yeah, all 3 of them have 5,000 HP. And with these prism specs on, we might be getting close to those thresholds that you can actually get through the first fight of Zeal without her casting Halation, which is her first move. She'll cast Halation, then she'll cast Halation. So you basically get 2 free rounds on her, which we'll see coming up. But first we have to fight the Lavos spawn for the final time. And this one is a little bit trickier than the previous Lavos spawns. We've had stronger attacks, and it's got a little bit more HP.
Yeah, and it's not an easy fight. It's got a couple of tricks up its sleeve. The Destruction Zone's pretty high damage. The Needle attack is pretty high damage. If you don't have Fire Absorption gear, it's not easy.
Yeah. You definitely have to make sure you're paying attention to your HP, that this is much harder than 2/3 of the Zeal fight.
Yeah, Zeal 1 and the Mammoth Machine are almost joke fights, which is kind of disappointing. But Zeal 2 is pretty decent, and having to do all 3 Zeal fights, plus the Elder Spawn, plus the Giga Mutant, and then go fight Lavos afterwards, just feels so unrewarding. Which is why we have the Zeal flag.
Oh, so much fighting. At the rate we're going, though, we could, with an Aussie fort, it's slow chance, but Moon could potentially sub to it, even after that extra time spent in Aussie. Because the only thing that's coming up next, after he finishes off this fight with the Lavos spawn, which we're almost at the end of that fight, is that there's going to be some panels, a save point, and then we start the end game.
Yeah, average time for a jet seed for experienced runner is about that 2-hour mark. The fastest time is held by Taco. Hour 34?
Hour 30.
Hour 30. On average, it's about 2 hours. If you're new to the randomizer, I'd say most people's first runs take about 4 hours as you're trying to figure out what you can do and what fights you can skip and such. 4 hours is a decent first run. But we've got some tools and whatnot to help assist.
Yeah, and it's the more you get through it, you're going to start finding your times just drop incredibly fast. That when I first started, I was at a solid 4.5 hours. And then within like three seeds, I was at 3 hours. And then after I started playing it for another couple of weeks, then I was down to that consistent 2.5 to 2:15 before I started getting to those 2-hour consistencies. But within like 2 weeks of playing the seed, I dropped 2 hours off my runs.
Yeah, learning the items you need and not having to reference a chart every time, and then learning a couple of skips, not even the big ones, make a huge difference.
Yeah, I think it's consistency. It's going to be easier to learn how to go from a 3-hour or like a 4-hour to a 2.5 hour than it is to go from a 2:15 to a 2.
Yeah, because so much of it is dependent on what characters you get, what techs you get, what order you get them in.
And then just learning the strengths of every party member. That's going to be like the final thing, is how to use each party differently.
Because for the really fast seeds, you don't want to go find all the characters. Ideally, you go in, you get your first 3 characters, and that's your team.
All right, we see Moon is going to be starting up Zeal. 5,000 HP. We're going to see a Halation to drop everyone to 1 HP, but he's not going to heal. He's going to just power through it and get that 5,000 damage off to end the first one. And we're likely to see a menu glitch where he's going to heal up before Mammon Machine, do another 5,000 damage, and then we're at the true final boss for this flag.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have Dark Matter and Ice Tackle. I don't know, he might have to get a third attack off.
Yeah, I think that he will have to get a third, because this is probably going to do about 2,400 damage. 2,100. So it's at 3,500 right now. A little bit over. This could be the finishing blow. He might need to get sneezed on for the final attack. Or she might need to get sneezed on. Nope, that was just enough.
Just enough. So yeah, there is a menu glitch here. Right as the screen turns full black.
And there it is.
You press and hold your menu button, and you'll enter into the menu, and you can heal up between fights. You can do that here. You can do that between Lavos 2 and Lavos 3. Oh, nice skip there by Choco, getting the bat skip again.
These two might be the ones that I think are the best at getting these omen skips.
Yeah.
Now you can only do the menu glitch from the first Zeal into Mammon Machine. After beating Mammon Machine, you cannot do another menu glitch.
Yeah,
however,
I'm very disappointed.
If you go into Lavos, this one could be a game changer, because I had this work for me. You go into, you're about to fight Lavos, and you're about to start fighting Lavos Shell. There is a menu glitch right as that fight is about to start. So if you forgot to menu and change to equip amulets or something like that, you do have one more shot, even as you're about to start the fight.
Yeah, it helps, like, if you're really, really trying to shave time off and you don't want to go back to the save point before Lavos Shell. Gives you a place to heal up and make changes as you run forward.
Alright, and we are entering the final Zeal fight. A safe helm drop from Mammon Machine would be kind of useful if you could actually equip it. Yeah, but actually this would not be a very good fight for a safe helm, because she does no physical damage. She's all magic.
And we swapped the audio over so we get to listen to the one of the most awesome pieces in the Chrono Trigger soundtrack.
Then we get, and at the same time, Choco is going to be slogging through Terra Mutant fights.
So the downside of taking Magus into the Zeal 2 fight is that the best attack he can use is Dark Bomb, which, as you see, does negligible, well, not negligible, but very low damage compared to other options. Thankfully, we've got a Newsy Punch.
There are strats to do full AoE attacks. Moon could potentially take advantage of that with the amount of Mega Elixirs that he has.
That's very true.
If you hit the hands, one hand will drop your HP to 1, the other one will take away all of your MP. So if you use an AoE attack, you're basically forfeiting your entire life and MP except for 1. So sometimes if you have Antipode 3 as doing like 4,000, 5,000 damage, you could Antipode 3 and just have your third character throw a Mega Elixir right after.
Yeah, and if you manage to time it after the halation, your HP's already at 1, and maybe you use that to get around it as well. Moon says, I have 5 Mega Elixirs. I don't care that I'm only at half HP, not 1 HP. Do it anyway.
Robo is doing his best Star Platinum impression. And Chocosora is probably still about 10 minutes behind Moon Blizzard at this point. So, and this fight is very unlikely to go poorly for Moon. There would have to be a series of unfortunate events happening for him to lose this fight.
If you manage to get halation and you get greedy and try to wait out the MP Buster, and instead she casts like Hexagon Mist or something, then maybe. But that's unlikely.
And he's already got that Mega Elixir, so that's already kind of off the table. Final Lavo Spawn fight for Choco. Stole all the MP away from Magus, but that's going to be okay. He's going to be able to just Elixir or Hyper Ether or something its way back up. He's got 8 Elixirs. This guy has more heals than any human needs in the world. Anyone that's ever played a Jet Seed will think he's got way too much.
Yeah, quick, throw a Green Dream on someone.
Yep, we are coming close. This is looking like it's going to be a sub 2 with an Aussie.
Yeah, which means it would have been like a 140, 145 without the Aussie Fort.
It did cost a good 5 minutes or 5. I would like to say Aussie's Fort took away like 7 or 8 minutes from him. So we're looking at low 50s without Aussie's Fort.
Oh no, Marl's down to 15 HP and has used like 8 mana. Better use a Mega Elixir.
Oh, we don't even need it.
Never mind.
GG. 158.
Yeah, 158.27. That is a darn good time.
Incredibly fast.
And as Moon wraps up, we have Choco taking out the lava spawn. Should be going down fairly quickly. And we'll see if we can't get Moon to come in and talk with us about this seed and why it was much better than the Fetch Fest that was the last one.
Yeah, this one definitely seemed a little bit more linear to get through things, and one of his biggest hiccups was just not being able to find Death Peak for a good minute. See, Aussie's Fort and not finding Death's Peak cost him so much time.
Yeah, you know, that would be one of those really frustrating things. Like, you have this great time, you're on pace for a PB or something, and then you just can't find a zone.
Mm-hmm.
And the lava spawn is down. And we have Moon in chat with us. GG, Moon. Congrats on the win.
Wow.
GG
Wow.
sub 2 with Ozzy Sport. How does it feel?
Sub 2 with all this sport. Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, I think I got very lucky with my checks. I really enjoyed that. I didn't do, I think, any, I mean, were there any checks that would have been done? Would have needed to be done?
That needed to be done? No.
Well, no, you didn't need to do any more because you got go mode.
No, I mean, did I do any check that wasn't needed to?
I
You
mean,
got jerky at one point,
I'm
but
gonna
that was,
say
I think, from the carpenter. So
Yeah, from the carpenter, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
think
when
all
I
of them
reached-
were-
Were essential, right? When I reached the future, I was like, oh, we can do Ares Dome, we can do Son of Sun, but as I went to the Dactyl Nest, I got a red mail from there, or ruby vest or something, and then I thought, okay, we can do Son of Sun. It's not going to be that hard, so
Yeah.
let's do Son of Sun, and that was my goal mode.
Wait,
And I was like, okay, shall we do Otis Fort at level 18? No. So I went to Death Peak and I was like, okay, let's get a couple of levels and then we can go back and do all the fun.
I guess technically the item that you got that you didn't need is Gate Key, because you, in theory, could have gone and gotten magic through the factory.
Yeah,
But-
thinking...
But that would have been slower.
It would have been slower.
Yeah, that would have been slower. I wouldn't have gone to the Dactyl Nest. I wouldn't have got the red mail, which was essential for the Otis Fort.
Right.
Without the red mail, I couldn't do Otis Fort, like, really at a low level. So, yeah, I think everything turned out okay this time.
Yeah, that was just about perfect routing. And Choco
I
is finished
I was
up.
very nervous at the end because that team actually, I was, okay, I need to change my team, I need to change my team, I need to change my... It was like, and then I was like, okay, everyone is doing their job, Robo is doing his job, Molly's doing her job, and Meg's doing her job, so let's go.
Yeah. So one of the key differences between yours and Chocosaur's run was that you went almost straight for Prism Shard as soon as you found that and started that chain, as opposed to doing some extra checks beforehand. What made you decide to go for Prism Shard as early as you did?
I think because last run I should have gone to Prism Shard earlier and I didn't, so this time I thought, okay, let's do Prism Shard first. Maybe this will help me. And I got the pendant from there, so that was amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah. I was like, okay, I'm kind of low level to do Prism Shard, but I don't have many options. I mean, I think I had some options, but I think that would have been the better play, so I went for that.
Now,
I
I
was
do have
kind of
to let-
scared because, yeah. Sorry.
I was saying we did have to let you know we had a little bit of a laugh when you were having trouble navigating your way around the future after you got your go mode and you couldn't find Death Peak.
No, actually, it was not that I couldn't find Death Peak. I was actually thinking if I should go back and do Osis Fort before Death Peak. So that was my. I took like. I don't know how much time, but I was thinking, oh god, should I go back? Should I not go back? Should I go back? Should I go back? Should I go back?
Yeah, we just kept seeing you flying in circles, and we're like, oh, we're back. We said, no, you should be going down. No, Death Peak is not there.
That was fun. I was very nervous because I was lower than level 20, so Osis Fort at level 18 would be, I don't know. Would be tough. I mean, one thing that I really like that I think got Robo in the party as I went to the desert, I got a Terra Arm there. And that Terra Arm, yeah, or Giga Armor, or a very good weapon for Robo. And I was like, okay, if we find Robo, I think he's in. So there you go. We found a Robo, and Molly learned haste. So yeah, so Robo learned Yuzi Punch, and I was okay. Let's keep going. Yeah, let's keep going. One moment I thought, okay, let's bring Ayla into the party because she has triple kick, and that will help me with ZO2. I was not that confident with ZO2, but I found the prison specs. When I found the prison specs, I was like, okay, ZO2 should be better. Usually I never do ZO2 with that team, so I was kind of worried, but it went.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
So what did you think about the number of Mega Elixirs?
I mean, we could do that. We could have that every feed, right? I mean, so...
Someone was saying, it's like, Taco was saying, you should be casting Dark Matter and then just Mega Elixiring or Elixiring Magus when it's all said and done.
And that new shop was like, okay, I can buy... I bought like a lot of elixirs. I had spare money. One moment I thought like, okay, let's not do that much shopping and not waste that much time because I don't think we need more than 3 or 4 Mega Elixirs. That was a lot of fun to have. I think we got 2 from the bridge, right? It was 2 from the bridge and...
yeah, 2 from the bridge.
Tank, I think, yeah.
A couple in
I loved it.
Black Omen.
I loved it, yeah, yeah. I mean, Black Omen was, I think... I got 3 fights in the elevator, so I was kind of worried about that. 3 fights, I know the RNG is not the same for me and Shokosura, so I was kind of worried about that. Yeah. But that number of Mega Elixirs, oh my god, I want that every feed now.
Yeah, and we see Choco has gotten to the Halation phase, and there goes a Lapis. Oh, he was waiting for the Empty Buster. I'm like, you have 8 Mega Elixirs, use them.
Yeah, he was just playing it safe on that. Because he's... Oh, I thought he might have been doing a Dark Matter right before he did... right before he cast the Mega Elixir, but he did not opt for that.
And he did swap Robo out for Ayla.
Yep, he's got Ayla. That was one of the things that worked out really well in your favor just from the early game. You went to Desert, and we were bemoaning the fact that you went to Desert and found nothing good. And you're picking up like this Terra Arm and the Megaton Arm. We're like, oh, this is terrible. And then Choco, who went straight to Cathedral, finds Robo. We're like, oh, now Moon's play looks brilliant because he's going to get Robo and have Terra Arm from fight 1.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm doing desert routing because usually you get a weapon for someone, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did buy a weapon for Luca instead of buying a weapon for Mal.
Oh, we
so
noticed.
I wasted, like...
Yep.
We noticed.
We noticed. We put it out, and Choco has
we
just
that
finished
you bought that early
seed.
weapon, but you refused to buy a Wonder Shot for some reason.
I didn't, yeah. Maybe I could have bought a Wonder Shot. I had money left.
Yeah, and we do see Chocosera finish this up, so GG to him. 2 hours, 7 minutes, 34 seconds. So another fast seed coming out today.
And we got the same difference from the last one. Oh my.
Yeah, so
we'll try and get Choco in here for one more interview.
Yeah, so now that's been 2 great races and a great end for the Tournament of Hope. A big thanks to Randomania for hosting the entire week of runs. There was some Super Mario RPG.
Which extra checks Choco did?
Choco did a Reptite Layer.
He did Desert.
And he did Desert, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But,
I think that explains the time difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I mean, we had Super Mario RPG. There was some Beat Mania last night. I didn't even know you could speedrun Beat Mania. I don't know if they were speedrunning.
Speedrun anything.
Apparently. But doing all that, raise money for the Bail Project. Again, if you have the opportunity to go read up on them, consider donating to a great cause. And we now have Choco with us. GG, Choco.
GG to you, Choco.
Read up on them.
Uh,
Consider donating
GG,
to a
thank
great
you.
cause. And we now have Choco
Dang,
with
that was
us.
almost a 10-minute difference. What happened?
GG,
GG
Choco.
to you, Choco.
Well,
the difference in the
GG,
plays
thank you.
was Moon decided to go
Dang, that
straight
was
to
almost a
Prison
10-minute
Shard.
difference.
Well, you did some extra checks before going there.
Oh wow, okay. I kind of figured that because I saw the dot down and I'm like, what in the world? He must have went straight to Prism Charge. That's what I was thinking.
Yep,
Yep,
that was
it.
Basically, the only
Exactly
difference. Otherwise, your routing was. We were commenting. You guys took different routes, but did the same checks, and you guys always seem to be in a boss fight at the same time, but at different locations.
Yeah, there was at least 5 dual boss fights, and none of them were the same boss.
Yeah, like there was Masamune and Hekran being fought at the same time, and then Yakra and Masamune were being fought at the same time, and this were fought at the same time. It was never the same dungeon, but
Nice.
always finishing
Oh,
dungeons
wow.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as I decided to do Prism Shard, I was talking earlier that I decided to do Prism Shard because in the last run I didn't, and that cost me a lot of time. And I was like, okay, let's do Prism Shard now.
see,
And
that's how I felt about Reptite. That's why I did Reptite there because I didn't
Oh.
do it in the last race.
Oh,
So I'm like, okay, maybe there's something here now.
oh my! And what you got from Reptile there? I was seeing
What was
your.
that?
I think
I
it was.
think-
I think
I think
that
it was
was
the
either the
knife.
spent sword or it was Ruby Knife. No, Ruby Knife was in Desert, so it was the bent
might have been
hilt
the sword.
in Reptite.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
kind
so
of sad seeing that too.
and you had not a good fight against Ovis because that place sometimes can be kind of tricky.
Oh, Ozzy's Fort. Yeah, I kind of wanted to go when I had some sort of uh, big damage dual tech like Beast Toss and at least some way to resist fire. That's when I decided to go.
We were hoping for more big items from Ozzy's Fort because it does have generally good loot, but you guys got stuck with several ethers and tonics and a
Yeah,
frenzy
that
band.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was very disappointing.
those items were really terrible.
Very
Considering.
disappointing.
Mm. Did you do Omen or
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Omen.
you guys had
Yeah.
basically the same routing for
okay.
the whole seed outside of how fast he went to Prism Shard. He followed that chain and then also went straight to Sun to Sun, and we were worried that you were going to start going to like Eris Dome for other things or
Oh no.
Genodome just because you wanted to make some like big brain play or something, but you also
Not
went straight to Sun of Sun to keep it really close that it was just those 2 extra checks.
Yeah.
not with the team I had. I wasn't even
Yeah.
gonna mess with Genodome. I mean, I could have with Magus, but yeah,
When
I
when
was.
you go on.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask when you swapped Alien. And Royal.
Oh, why did I swap her in?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
when?
when? I mean, yeah.
When did I swap her in? I honestly forgot. I know it was during the mid game because I was hoping for a semi early ish, mid-ish triple kick, which I did get eventually. But I mean, I could have done with either her or Vobo because Vobo had a good weapon.
Yeah, part of what we had talked about was that neither one of you had like an ideal Omen team. That you either lacked good single target techs for a lot of things like Lavo Spawn and Zeal, or you lacked a significant amount of magic damage for fighting the Terra mutants and the Giga mutants.
Yeah, and because of that, I decided to run with Magus because I figured Dark Matter would be my best bet. Glacier's okay, but it's only single target. I don't really like Glacier against mutants. Shock is kind of meh, even with Prism specs.
Mm-hmm.
And Ice 2, I didn't learn until last with Marl. So I decided to use Dark Matter. And I knew where Luca was. I wasn't even thinking about going for her at that point.
But the
I
Wonder
couldn't even
Shot.
get it. Oh yeah, but I mean, I had no
she
Luca
was
to use
she
it.
was yeah, she was out of play. We couldn't
Yeah.
play with her today.
Nah, unfortunately, that Omen shot was kind of. It was okay if
Man.
you had the right characters, but there
Yeah.
was nothing for me to buy. I had no Luca, no Chrono, so I just loaded up on elixirs.
Yeah.
And the
That's
mega
about all you
mixes.
could do at that point.
Yeah,
I mean,
We have a lot
I
of
wish I
them.
had a seed where I had 8 mega elixirs.
yeah, there were quite a few mega elixirs. I know I had at least 5 at the end.
Yeah.
And some seeds I struggled to find one.
All right,
Either
well,
of y'all
I think
have
that's gonna
any
be.
last thoughts or anything?
I just like to thank Randomania and Tournament of Hope for this opportunity, and GG Choco, thanks for playing with me today.
No problem.
Was a
Thank
pleasure.
you. GG, man.
Yep.
Good race.
And Moon's right. Big thanks for Randomania.
Yes,
And
thank you,
also big
Randomania.
thanks for the commentary team and Cora for helping out with all the streaming, restreaming, and everything.
My pleasure. Big thanks to Procky for being our tracker for both races. Taco, thanks to
And
you
Procky,
for
yeah, thank you, Procky.
commentating on the second race. And Angeril, if you're out there watching, for being here for the first race. I can't imagine having to have done either of those just with one person. So big thanks to everyone who's helped out. Procky says no more frogs. You say that now. Wait until the next patch. But no, big thanks again, Randomania, for running the Tournament of Hope, letting us be the anchor leg to close everything out. Big thanks to all you guys out there watching. And if you're interested in joining us, we will get a link out there for our Discord. And if you want to join in the randomizer, we've got all sorts of tools. Moon's put together a nice video on all the skips, so you can sit there and figure out how they ran through Black Omen and only have like half as many fights as you do. So that would be great. I think that's going to be it for us. Hope everyone has a good night, and we'll see you on our next runs.
All right. See you later, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.